and welcome back to another weekly horoscope. This week is an interesting one because we're in a new year, we're in a new calendar year. It's a 1 year, so the numerology of the year that we're in has changed, but the energy hasn't really changed very much. And I just posted a video about this to my TikTok that will be posted to my Instagram later, and just basically breaking down that we're not in fully a new year energy yet. It doesn't really begin until the middle of February when we have the Lunar New Year, and then we transition into a new year that really fully begins, I believe, with Aries season and the spring equinox at the middle end of March. So we're still in this intermittent, we're still in this transitional phase and energy right now, and I feel it's just preparing us for what is to come and all the changes that are majorly loading right now for all of us. We have a pretty big conjunction happening this week between Mars, Venus, and the Sun in Capricorn. And anything that moves through Capricorn really puts our focus on our foundations, on our structures, on our systems. What do we need in order to thrive? What do we need to really build as a solid foundation in order to move forward, and to put things on top of it, right? It's like, I think I used this analogy when I did the 2025 update in my membership community, and I'll be doing the 2026 update. I do a month to month deep dive in my membership. I do it live as a class for each year ahead at the beginning of the year. So I'll be doing the 2026 one this upcoming Wednesday. If you can't make the live, there will be a replay available and it stays in the membership all year. But for 2025, I remember specifically using this analogy of building a house. And we're still kind of in that energy at the beginning of this year of really building the foundation of our house. And it started in 2025, but there were some things, there were delays, there were just things we couldn't achieve around whatever it is, related to whatever it is that we're building that is our new life. There were delays. There were, we had to put things on the back burner. There were stalls. I'm not, like, the word isn't coming to me that I'm searching for to accurately describe like the way it was put on hold in 2025, but we're really still kind of in that reevaluation phase right now. We just had Chiron go direct, which I plan to do a YouTube video later this week dedicated to. I don't know if I'll get around to it, but I want to do more YouTube lives moving into the year ahead. But again, I am feeling this energy too. We're still in this kind of transition. Like, a lot of people are getting sick, I've noticed, and it's not really the time to be doing a whole lot or moving forward a whole lot into our new chapter yet. Like, it's building underneath the surface, it's building in our energy and in our like frequency and field, and in the quantum, but it's not here just yet. So if you haven't felt super inspired or motivated, or like you even have energy to do a whole lot, that's why it's really not the time right now. It's really not the season. We're kind of inwardly building, like I said, our structures and our foundations and what we need, like, about our routine, about our structure in our life every day. What do we need to build? What do we need to have in our practices or our schedule or routine or whatever in order to like feel grounded and have it, like I said, a solid foundation as we move forward into this major new season of our lives. So that kind of gets really a huge focus this week as we're building. There's a focus on building. There's a focus on, okay, structurally, what needs to change about my life or my inner energy in order to have the things that I want. We just had Chiron go direct. I started saying that and then I got off on a tangent, but we just had Chiron go direct. So right now that was on, I think, Friday or Saturday. And so we're really focused with Chiron leaving retrograde, externalizing the healing that we've been doing internally, especially as it relates to an old version of ourselves, an old identity that we're letting go of, so we can have this new beginning, we can have this new chapter, right? And Chiron is still challenging, squaring Jupiter until February. So again, we're still very much in this energy of transitioning into the new, transitioning really out of the old, being faced with the old so we can see it clearly for what it is, to move forward and to move on. And those are really the major transits and energies of this week. Like I said, the Capricorn thing, the I want to say stellium, but it's really like a major conjunction between Mars, Venus, and the Sun in Capricorn. That's going to be going on all week. I believe it peaks at the beginning of the week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, and then they move together pretty closely all week. And I think even a little bit after everything moves into Aquarius, they'll still be really closely together. So that is really the focal point of this week. That's the major energy, is that conjunction in Capricorn. We're going to have at the end of the week, the moon adding tension to that energy. And then also Mars, Venus, and the Sun in Capricorn will be opposite Jupiter in Cancer. So there will be a T-square between those of you that are in my intermediate astrology course know about this aspect pattern. It's a pretty difficult one. I'm sorry, not a T-square, a grand cross. There will be a grand cross between Jupiter, the moon, Chiron in the conjunction that's happening in Capricorn. I believe that grand cross happens on Saturday. So Saturday could be a little bit of a challenging day around those energies, around this new identity you're stepping into, these new relationships you're attracting, ways you're supporting and nurturing yourself at this time, and what you need in your foundations in order to have all of those things thrive in a new way that aligns with this new chapter for you. So that is kind of how we end out the week. Is there's challenges between all of those things, and we have to kind of maybe think outside the box, or really kind of come at it from an evolutionary perspective of like, what about this needs to evolve so I can actually be more aligned instead of just facing these same challenges and conflicts around everything. Does that make sense? So yeah, we end out the week with a grand cross and cardinal signs. Fun energy. But as I always say, it's all needed. It's all pushing us to evolve and grow in the ways that are going to really be more in alignment. I was talking about this recently on a TikTok live I did. We're all entering into this phase of living more heart-centered, and it begins now. It begins with digging up and excavating everything in and about our lives that hasn't been heart-centered, that hasn't been fully aligned, that we've maybe just been going through the motions of because we thought we had to, or whatever the story is. We're leaving behind the things that don't feel good to us anymore, and that aren't coming or haven't been coming from a heart-centered place, and moving into the things, the people, the places, the routines that do and that are more heart-centered. So yeah, for a lot of us, that's going to look like starting businesses, which I'm so excited about. I love talking about entrepreneurship and helping entrepreneurs. Whole other kind of side thing that has been emerging for me since I launched my business course last year, but that's for another video. Just really excited about that. But message for some of you out there, if you have been thinking of starting a business or stepping into entrepreneurship, or already have been and waiting for a sign to like fully take the leap, this is it. 2026 is the year. Okay, is there anything else I want to say about this week before we get into the horoscopes? I don't think so. So let's start, as always, with Aries Rising. Aries, we start your week off with the Capricorn conjunction happening in your area of career and public image. So there might be a lot of momentum this week towards building an inner sense of what you want to do or what you want to be known for. There might be some structural things or changes to your career that you're making or stepping into this week, and really feeling that like momentum around. Even if it's not represented on the external just yet, it does feel like there's a big push towards making the inner changes of maybe that's more confidence and just fully making the choice of the decision to step into whatever this is. It also feels like there's a lot that's changed about your identity and your appearance, your sense of self, how you view yourself, how you present yourself. That is getting a huge focus as well. Of maybe just realizing how much you've healed and how much you've grown into a new version of yourself. There could be some major unexpected change with money and creativity as well on Monday. related to what's going on or changing or moving in a new direction in your career, especially as we step into Tuesday and the moon moves into your area of everyday work, everyday routine. So there might be a lot that maybe you got a new job or are starting a business and leaving your old job behind, and it's kind of changed what you do on a daily basis. So there could be a lot of focus on that in the middle of the week. Maybe on Wednesday there's something you receive a lot of clarity around that you want to release or let go of in your routine or in your schedule. It could also be related to your physical health. Maybe you're like, okay, I really need to get outside more, get into nature more, go on daily walks or something like that. There could be some habit or mindset you're really releasing related to that. And there's just this big energy towards your career and your public image all week that's just really building. A lot of things feel like they're moving forward, even if it's just underneath the surface. On Thursday, though, there could be some friction emotionally between what you need to do in your routine or your schedule, and maybe what's going on subconsciously for you. This could be showing up as weird dreams as well. I talked about this in my overview update of the astrology of this week. It's like there's some messages coming through in our dreams, but they're really just further clearing out an old version of ourselves and old patterns that we need to let go of. As we get into Friday, the moon moves into your area of relationships. So there's a big focus on people in your life. As we get into the weekend, there's a big focus maybe on social life or social time. It could come, though, on Friday. There's maybe some difficult conversation you have to have with somebody related to your career or your image in some way. I feel like so much about your life is changing, and you're maybe having to change as well who you have around you. And you might have to have a difficult conversation related to that. As we head into Saturday, like I talked about at the beginning of the video, there's a pretty challenging transit that's happening on Saturday between you, your relationships, your home, your career. So there might be some challenges or conflict between all of those areas of your life, and you're kind of figuring out how to piece it all together, what needs to change and what needs to evolve in order to have more harmony in all these areas and them not feel so out of balance. I mean, this is big energy towards the structural foundations of your life. And then it feels as we head into Sunday, there's some catalyst that happens related to that in taking action or feeling more energetically sound and moving forward towards this thing, whatever it is. It feels like there's a big emotional push and drive to change maybe your long-term goals and visions to align with, all these changes that are happening in your work and career, vice versa, as well as what's going on with you underneath the surface. It's like there's this big energetic shift that happens over the weekend, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is what I need to do, this is how I move forward. It's like you have the answers and you're taking the action as it comes to you. So that is your week ahead, Aries. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Staring right at my ring light. You can't have that. I'm gonna go blind. Okay. Taurus Rising. Hi. We start your week off with the moon in your area of home. So there might be a lot of focus on your home, your family life, maybe what you do in your home that brings you a lot of joy. There might be some structural changes as well happening there, but depends on how it's showing up for you personally. There could be something that you're really healing, maybe related to childhood or family as well. And that kind of comes to a close or a head on Monday. Although things could feel a little challenging between that and what's going on with you. A lot of changes are happening to you that are rippling out into every other area of your life. And so there might be some challenges or friction between what's going on with your home or family and the changes that are happening with you. that could extend into Tuesday, and then middle Tuesday, middle of the day, early afternoon, the moon moves into your area of creative passions. So there could be something about whatever came up on Monday that like you want to create something around or you want to share with the world. There could be a big thing that comes up Tuesday and Wednesday of what you need to release around your creative passions or in order to step into something new there. Could be related to the change in way that your career is transforming or how you're known to the world is transforming. An example of this is like if you recently became a mother, like it changes everything about your life. It changes everything about how you're known to the world, how you present yourself, how you put yourself out there to the world. And so there's, challenges that come with that as well. But ultimately, it's a change that you can't go back from. So there's this big change that's happening for you that's really culminating in your sense of self and in your identity. It's rippling out into every other area of your life this week, and it feels like there's some big maybe emotional release you have around that on Wednesday, or something you get some clarity around to refine in your creative passions or in what you're doing that is more aligned with your long-term goals and visions and how you want to be known to the world, what you want to create and put out into the world. There's a lot of focus as well this week on your mindset, on your perspective, on your philosophy of life, how you're viewing things around you. There could be a lot maybe that you're learning related to these changes or wanting to learn, go to school for, or whatever it is, and maybe even teach to other people and bring that into your career in some way. As we get into Thursday, it feels more like there's a seamless flow with whatever this is. Like it feels like you're getting breadcrumbs the whole week of clarity and what to do. And as we get closer to the end of the week, especially on Thursday, there's more clarity. It feels like though on Thursday as well, there could be some tension between that emotional clarity and emotional drive to act on something and maybe something you're like pulled to do that you have to be a little bit responsible for. Maybe just really getting a lot more clarity on if you have. Oh gosh, what just happened there? That was divine. Wow. Okay, so I feel like if there was something that you maybe like use to distract yourself all this past week, and this week, come the end of this upcoming week, it's like you're realizing, okay, I really can't continue to distract myself in this way. I have to like have this sobering clarity about what I need to do and act on it. It's the feeling I get around Thursday. That's so funny. It's like, don't keep yourself in the dark. Like, you know what you need to move forward. So trust that. As we get into Friday, the moon moves into your area of day to day. So it's like really acting on these things you're realizing you need about your day to day or daily routine or structure in order to feel balanced, in order to feel more harmonized with your life and maybe in your relationships as well. There could be something about that though on Friday that challenges your perspective or a belief system. And then as we get into Saturday, I talked about this in the general overview of this week, at the beginning of the video. We have a very challenging thing happening on Saturday between your communication, where you go on a daily basis, what you do on a daily basis to take care of yourself and your perspective of life, and also maybe subconscious wounds and triggers that have been coming up. So Saturday is going to be a really big day of getting a lot of clarity around all of the things that have felt challenging for you and what to do about it and move forward aligned with your new chapter and your new season of life. And then as we get into Sunday, it feels like there's a lot of momentum towards like it's a catalyst towards making these changes and, having that clarity to act from and with and move forward in a major way. So that is your week ahead, Taurus. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Gemini Rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of communication. So you might be really busy at the start of the week, like just having fun and being more playful than maybe you normally have or would be. And it's making you realize there's something that you need to incorporate in your day to day as it relates to that, and really have more fun in your life and bring more joy into your life. And there might be new people you're surrounding yourself with that are encouraging that in you as well. And it feels like it on Tuesday, early on Tuesday, it promotes this big kind of subconscious shift or awakening around what you want to change and do differently about your life moving forward. Then later on Tuesday, the moon moves into your area of home. So you might be really focused on making those changes in your home, or just focused on childhood healing, family, your physical living space, and refining anything there. Maybe getting rid of things, going through a kind of a purge of possessions, what have you. Feels like on a Wednesday, there's a big emotional release related to that. So there might be some things that you've kept on to just in case, or for sentimental value, but you're realizing like it really doesn't serve you to hold on to that stuff. And so there might be some emotional release that happens as it relates to that. And just realizing the memory and the energy isn't in the actual thing, it's within you. And so yeah, really downsizing is going to help you a lot. And help, what is that saying? It's like cluttered space is a cluttered mind. So it's really going to help bring this mental and energetic reprieve to you. And there's a lot of focus this week as well overall on your money, on your resources. So there might be things that you're investing in or wanting to start doing more of, or there could be, this area of the chart rules a lot of things. This could be showing up in your sexuality. This could be showing up in your vulnerability. This could be showing up in your debt, your taxes, your shared resources, or other ways that you're wanting to make money, or things you're wanting to do with your money that are different than what you have been doing before. Big focus on that. And what's changing about your goals that relate to that, or vice versa. So there's a big energy towards that as well, that's building all week. As we get into Thursday, there could be some harmony between like what you're focused on in your inner world. Maybe you're doing a lot of shadow work, or maybe you're doing a lot of internal subconscious reflection, or past life healing, or anything related to that. And there's this big clarity moment that comes from that on Thursday, but it also might put tension on what's happening with work, or what's happening within your career, that you've been needing or wanting to do and step in a new direction around. So it feels like there might be some tension between your personal time and what you are called or need to do in your external world, to kind of balance responsibility with your own internal sense of healing. As we get into Friday, the moon moves into your area of creative passions, of what you're creating, what you're putting out into the world, also of joy and fun. So there might be some things you're doing as we head into the weekend that are bringing you more joy, and again, bringing up this energy of what do I need to do on a daily basis to have more fun, to really love my life more, and feel more balanced and harmonized with what I'm doing and the way that I'm doing it. There might be a difficult conversation you need to have about resources, or a very vulnerable thing that comes up as well, maybe related to dating or romance or creativity. And it feels like as we get into Saturday, there's a lot of challenge between all of those areas I've been speaking to: your long-term goals, visions, community, creative passions, and how that's making you money. So it might feel like there's just a kind of a lot of challenging or conflicting energy between all those areas of your life. The message, though, is to really focus on what needs to change, and what maybe in your inner world, what needs to change in order to be aligned with what you want energetically, before it comes in through like your physical reality. As we get into Sunday and end out the week, there is an emotional catalyzation between your work and what's changing about that, and your perspective of life. Maybe belief systems are really coming up for you to fully look at and clear, in ways that are going to be, and to move forward in ways that are going to be more beneficial for you than they have been, with all of those areas I've been talking about that are a major focus for you right now. So that's your week ahead, Gemini. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Cancer Rising. We start your week off with an emotional focus on your money, on your resources. There might be things you're getting clarity around as it relates to that. Maybe you're stepping into a new streams of income more related to what brings you joy, and there's a lot of healing going on in that area for you, related to all that. There might be some major change that you make Monday into Tuesday as well as it relates to that. Maybe that you're realizing you want to change about your long term goals or visions or community, how you're sharing yourself with the world. Um, it feels like you get some major clarity about what to do and how to do it. And then as we get into later into Tuesday, there is a focus emotionally on your communication, on your belief systems, on what you're sharing, and how you're sharing ideas and information with the world. So maybe refining what you're doing through the clarity you received, and stepping into something new. There also, on Wednesday, could be an emotional release related to that. Like maybe if you change jobs, your whole kind of schedule where you go on a daily basis has changed, and so there might be some big release emotionally related to that, so you can fully step into this new thing. This might also harmonize a relationship in some way, or oh my gosh, excuse me, benefit a relationship in some way. There might be new people you're around and they just feel more supportive. They feel more, um, yeah, they feel better for you in some way. It's like where you're going, who you're talking to, what you're doing on a daily basis has gone through a lot of change, and you're learning how to make the most of it. And you actually like who is around you better because of this, even though it was uncomfortable maybe at first. And it feels like Thursday you're more in a groove with this change. There's a lot of focus on this week overall on your relationships and building new foundations or routines or boundaries with people, and that's attracting different people into your life. This could be a romantic connection, or it could just be friends, coworkers. Like I said, it can really be any relationship, but it's about building these new connections, in a way that feels better for you moving forward and feels more like the you that you stepped into this past year, and how much you've expanded and grown and changed. And who you have around you is reflecting that. As we get into Friday, the moon moves into your area of home and family. So your emotional focus is on your home, is on your family, maybe hosting people at your house, or going, to gatherings with these new people that you're spending more time around. It just feels like there's a need, something about that, to focus on your inner world and not neglect yourself for your relationships, or other people in your life. And then on Saturday, there could be something really challenging that happens between all of those areas that gives you more clarity on what needs to change or grow and evolve as it relates to that, and maybe how to step into, this new chapter with really nothing left from the past. There might be something on Saturday around this, or related to this, that maybe really triggers you, in a way you didn't expect, and maybe has you questioning this new version of yourself. But it's like, trust in the process and trust it's coming up, just to kind of as a final glimpse of how much you have grown and changed, and not repeating the past. As we get into Sunday, it feels like there's a big emotional catalyst around that, maybe related to your creative passions or inspiration, maybe also related to dating, romance, or intimacy, if that applies, for what's going on with you, involving all of these energies. It feels like there's this big, as we end out the week, catalyst towards transforming your life in all these ways that have been building and growing all week. And really all these last few months. So that is your week ahead, Cancer. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Hi, Leo Rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of you. So there's an emotional focus on you, maybe on your appearance, on your sense of self, your identity, on maybe just bringing more joy and having more joy or playful energy in your life. There could be something about that really heals you and heals your perspective and how you're viewing the world around you. There's also a big general focus this week on your work. on your day-to-day schedule, routine, maybe health as well, and balancing your physical health with your mental health as well this week. There could be some, early on Tuesday, there could be some big change that you get emotional clarity around that feels challenging at first, related to your career, related to work, and what's changing about you and yourself. There could be some challenges between you and work or career that give you more clarity on how to grow and evolve and move into the new and make the necessary changes you've been wanting to or have been. It feels like it's all kind of culminating this week as we head into later on Tuesday. The emotional focus is on your money, is on your resources. There might be some big thing that you're refining, that you're reorganizing about your resources and your money middle of the week, especially on Wednesday. There could be something that gets a big emotional release around that. As it relates to what's going on with your possessions or resources. This could be you selling things you don't need anymore or don't use, or just really like doing a whole haul like of to donating things or selling things. Like I said, it really feels like you're in this big release period with an old version of you, or how you approach possessions or how you approach finances or money. And it's related to these changes that are happening within your work and career, and really maybe it's almost like this energy of, I'm just gonna sell all my things and move into an Airstream or something. That's kind of like the energy, and become like a YouTuber. I don't know. That's really specific, but that's kind of what it feels like, even if it's not that exact thing. That's very much the energy of like, I'm just gonna let go of all that I can to step into this new chapter. And there might be some tension between your vision for that on Thursday, and like maybe needing to get really like sobering up about it. Like there might be something you have to get really real with yourself about on Thursday as it relates to that, so you can step into what is actually more aligned for you versus where you have been. As we get into Friday and into the weekend, there's an emotional focus on your day-to-day, on your sharing of ideas and information, maybe also taking a short road trip or doing some travel or something like that. That's for some of you, but there's some kind of challenge between that and what's going on with your work that you're building or your routine that you're building. Like there might be this kind of push and pull between needing to do something or go somewhere or talk to somebody, and like what you need as a schedule for yourself. You might have to like, okay, well, I usually do this on a daily basis, but I can't do it today because I'm so busy and blah, blah, blah. So there might be that kind of energy. And it's like, how can you set yourself up for success to not fall off of your routines and habits that you need for your physical and mental health when things get crazy, when things get busy. And it feels like that's going to be the theme throughout the weekend, especially on Saturday. There's a lot of challenging energy between those areas of your life, and changing your perspective to see something differently, and maybe even becoming aware more so of subconscious wounds or healings, maybe related to family or childhood. And then as we get into Sunday, there's a big catalyst towards making the change that has been kind of building all week and stepping forward into the new. There's a lot of emotional focus on your home and your family starting on Sunday that could challenge your relationships or who you're spending time around. And so there's a need for you to really like, okay, I said I was going to do this. I said I was going to, really stick to this. So I have to do it no matter what other people think of it, or what it challenges in me, or whatever it is, right? It's like you make or break is how we end out the week. So that's your week ahead, Leo. Let me know how that resonates with you, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Hi, Virgo Rising. We start your week with the emotional focus on your subconscious, on your inner world. There might be something really healing that happens for you on Monday, or that you're really emotionally focused on finally getting to the bottom of, or finally healing for good. And there could be, because of that, as we head into early on Tuesday, a big shift. It could really challenge an old perspective. It could really challenge you to see things differently. There's a big focus on your health and your creativity, and building these systems and structures and routines in your life that are going to help you to feel more creatively inspired and do more of what you want to do, versus feeling like all your time is going to healing, or all your time is going to like focused on your inner world or your inner energy. And it's like, okay, what things are going to ground me in my day to day that are going to help bring in that, so I don't have to like continually focus on it. Does that make sense? Then, as we head later into Tuesday, the moon moves into your area of you. So the emotional focus is on yourself, is on, again, refining these things that maybe need to be refined about how you view yourself, or how you take care of yourself emotionally. And there could be this sense of emotional renewal of like, okay, well, I want to do it this way, so I'm gonna set this into place, or I'm gonna make it a priority to do this, or add this to my routine, or whatever it is, in order to really move into this new version of yourself that has been forming. And as we get into Wednesday, there could be a big emotional release around that. And really maybe needing to, Wednesday into Thursday, set some boundaries with people in your life in order to step into this version of yourself more fully, and in a way that feels more embodied. And it's really about, maybe there's something you need to learn, or research, or ask for advice around, in order to do that as well, and really step into this new version of you more fully. It could put tension on your relationships, or it could really call for you, like I said, to get really soberingly clear about what boundaries you need to set with people, energetic or actually communicating them. And it feels like there's a big focus on that Wednesday into Thursday. As we head into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your money and on your possessions, your resources. So maybe there's something about this new you that has been emerging that is showing up in your money. It could be something Friday into Saturday. There could be something challenging that happens between all the ways that you've been focused on money. I feel like this has been coming up for you most of 2025, Virgo, is like, what is changing about your finances? What do you need to have there that's more balanced and aligned, that feels more harmonized, and not so much like this teeter totter. Like, what do you need to do? What systems do you need to set up? What foundations do you need to have? Do you need to have like an automatic transferred savings, or automatic transfer to investments, so that the money is just like getting put in all these places and it's growing for you, as opposed to you feeling like, oh, well, I forgot to do that and now I spent it on this and blah blah blah. And it's like, how can you automate it, or how can you, again, set up these systems and structures that kind of benefit you as it relates to your resources and your finances? There could be, like I said, something about that on Saturday that really feels like challenging. And it's like, how do I balance this? How do I grow from this? And again, what systems and structures do I need in place to be able to move forward with this in a way that feels more aligned, expansive, and like the healed version of yourself? Like, what would, future you, who has it all together with money, or with your job, or whatever it is, like, do? And really thinking from that place, as opposed to the old version of you that maybe doesn't have it all figured out, or doesn't, kind of makes mistakes with it. Like, what would the version of you that has it all figured out do? And it's about doing that now, putting it into place now. There could be something on Sunday about that really changes massively. There's this emotional catalyst. It could really change your belief systems as well, and really change where you're going, who you're talking to on a daily basis. And again, it's putting these into place in a way that's going to benefit you. And benefit all the ways that your life is changing, and the way you're stepping into a major new chapter and new season of your life moving forward. So that is your week ahead, Virgo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Libra Rising. We start your week out with the emotional focus being on your long term goals and visions. So, there might be things about what you want to do long term that you're really refining, maybe also as it relates to who you're spending time around. There could be a lot of healing happening for you in those areas of your life of like what you want to do moving forward, who you want to have around you, who you want to be with more so than other people, or who you want to talk to more so than other people. There's a lot of changes happening to your outward community, as well as, like I said, your long term goals and visions related to that. Like your relationships are going through this big period of healing, especially as we head into Tuesday and early on Tuesday. There could be something about that that maybe challenges. There's some healing, there's emotional healing that happens related to that. Maybe it's a new relationship or somebody you're spending more time around that really provides emotional support you need in order to like get more clarity or feel more confident on where you're headed long term and feel more aligned with it. Even if it's not here yet, it's like you're aligning yourself with the energy of it. But there could be something around that early on Tuesday, maybe that challenges your resources or challenges your vulnerability in some way, really challenges you to get clear on maybe debt or investments or taxes, and maybe also get like emotionally vulnerable about whatever this is. And it's not super comfortable. Like, it might require you to get, like I said, kind of open up a little more, get a little vulnerable about really what you want moving forward. So you can actually have it and align yourself with it. And then later into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your subconscious, into your inner world. And so there might be something about whatever happened Monday or Tuesday that kind of shifts your focus on you in your inner world a little bit. Maybe you're spending a little bit more time alone to reflect and process whatever's been coming up, and make maybe necessary changes to your belief system or to your actual like home and habits to support this new vision, and these new goals that are emerging for you. And later on Wednesday, there could be a big emotional release related to that. There could be something that maybe you didn't realize was there in your mental space, or kind of kept in maybe your emotional body, that comes up for you to release and let go of as it relates to an old mindset or belief system that was never really yours. And there's this emotional clarity that comes around it, and like, oh, I really did take this on from my mom or my childhood or whatever it is. And there's a big release that happens because of that clarity. All week as well, like I spoke about in the general overview at the beginning of the video, there's a huge focus on your home and your family this week because of what's going on in Capricorn. And so you might be making changes to your home or to your family structure, in order to align with this new version of yourself and these new visions and this new chapter of your life. And there might be some emotional support towards doing that and having that more actually forward momentum or forward movement as it relates to whatever this is, whether it's changing home or renovating your home or moving or whatever it is. It feels like there's a lot of emotional support that comes in around it Thursday. Then as we get into Friday, the moon moves into your area of you. So the emotional focus is on you. There's maybe a sense of emotional renewal as well, supported by or because of someone you're dating or a romantic connection. This could also be an inspiring moment of creative passion or wanting to do something, create something, take action on a creative project or passion, because there's this emotional sense of renewal in you, and that ripples out to everything that you're doing. So it's kind of like, midweek, you're there's more this internal focus, and then as we end out the week, there's this big focus on, okay, outwardly making changes that you realized you want to make. But as we get into Saturday, there's a big challenging energy around all of those areas between you and your home and your relationships and your career. Might feel like, how do I balance all this? How do I bring all this into harmony? It can feel really challenging, but it also is creating opportunity for you to grow and evolve in those areas in ways that are needed and are ultimately going to feel more expansive and feel more supportive for you moving forward, even if it feels really challenging and hard to balance in the moment. As we get into Sunday, there's emotional catalyst that happens between your resources and your creative passion. So there could be something you're wanting to put out into the world that you realize like, oh, this is what I want to do to make money, or to have this new side hustle or this new stream of income or whatever it is. There's a lot of emotional transformation that happens around it. And there's maybe some things you start to take action on or realize as we end out the week of like everything that was challenging all week, it builds up to this moment of clarity and finally moving forward in these ways that you've maybe wanted to for quite some time, but the energy hasn't been there. It feels like as we end out this week, the energy is there and you move forward, you take action in ways that you've been wanting to. So that is your week ahead, Libra. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Scorpio Rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of career. So there's a big emotional focus at the start of the week on your reputation, on what you're building as it relates to your image and your career, maybe doing it in a way that feels more fun and playful than it ever has for you, maybe fully stepping into something new. There's a lot of support early on Tuesday, and depending on where you are in the world, late on Monday and into Tuesday, there's a lot of emotional support towards, making these changes you've wanted to that maybe have been really triggering an old version of yourself or triggering old belief systems. And they're coming up so that you face them, so that you transform them and use your powers of alchemy that you have as a Scorpio rising to change your life from your inner world, based on your inner energy. So there's a lot of momentum towards that at the start of the week. And maybe even if it's not fully forming yet, there's breadcrumbs around it that are coming in for you. And it feels like as we get into middle week on Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts to your long-term goals and visions, and maybe releasing some long-term goal or vision you've had around whatever this is. It could be also releasing attachment to a community or something like that. Maybe releasing as well, like tendency to be really hard on yourself about what you're doing or what your vision is or what your goals are, and maybe realizing like, oh, this actually isn't what I wanted, I just thought it was what I had to do. And you need to release that so you can step into the new and whatever this is that you have been building that's more aligned with your creativity or your spirituality or just what you find fun and playful. Like, what is a passion for you? What is an obsession? You're building some sort of career around that, that is different than what you have been doing before. And so there's a lot of forward momentum towards that, and kind of like I said, getting the breadcrumbs of clarity to act on it this week. It's like you can't put it off anymore. And like I said at the beginning of the video, we have a lot going on in Capricorn. That's happening in your area of communication, of sharing your ideas, sharing information. So there's a lot of focus on building this new thing for yourself and starting to share it, starting to put it out there, writing it, creating it, speaking it, doing it on a daily basis or whatever it is. It's like building yourself that foundation and support to build the habit of it. Friday, there's emotional focus on your inner world. It kind of shifts from what's my long-term goals and visions? Who do I need to have around me? Who do I want to have around me to support that? The focus shifts as we get into Friday into your kind of your inner world. Again, like what is going on within yourself that maybe is blocking you from stepping forward in this new thing or having success with it in the ways that you want to. Like, what about your belief systems or your frequency is not aligned with what you want, and how can you make the changes to align your inner world with what you want on the outer in order to have it. On Saturday, there's a lot of just conflicting and challenging energy around all of that. There might be something that really comes up for you to look at differently, for you to really change about your routine or your day-to-day, in order to really support yourself more so than you ever have with your physical and mental health. And it just feels like you need to bring more joy and playful energy into your life and know that it's going to lead you to all the things that are meant for you. And it's going to work out, even if it doesn't logically make sense. Like, that's the magic of life, right? Is doing things that don't make sense, but seeing what comes from them when we do them and experiencing miracles. Sunday, there's a big emotional renewal and catalyst towards transformation. If you're making these changes and you're acting from your intuition, it feels like there's a chance on Sunday for a big change. It could feel really challenging. It could challenge an old version of yourself or bring up childhood stuff or family stuff, stuff with your home, but it does feel ultimately overall positive towards making the changes you want to make and stepping into the new. So that's your week ahead, Scorpio. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Sagittarius Rising. We start your week off with an emotional focus on your perspective, your philosophies of life. There might be a big focus at the start of the week on what do I need in my day to day, or how in my mindset that brings me more joy, that brings me more fun and playful energy, and how can I view things from that place. There might also be something that you're doing more so in your day-to-day that is changing your view of life, that's maybe positively impacting your perspective, maybe related to healing that's happening with dating or romance or creativity, inspiration in some way. There's a lot of support towards like emotionally healing that, and it shifting how you view the world around you, especially on Tuesday. There could also be some big, massive change that you get clarity around making on Tuesday, but it feels challenging. It's like it challenges an old version of you, it challenges an old perspective, and maybe asks for you to look at your work or your health differently than you have been, but it is supportive, although it feels challenging. Later, on Tuesday and into Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your career. There might be something, especially on Wednesday, that you're releasing about your career or your public image. Maybe that's a mindset. Maybe that's a perfectionistic way of viewing things, or what you do or what you create or what you put out into the world. There's a big focus all week in general on your finances, on your resources, your money, possessions, building new solid foundations there, and really taking a lot of action towards building those foundations and those structures and systems that you've been maybe wanting to, or you haven't had the chance to, and now there's a big focus on doing so. But it could also really challenge an old version of yourself as it relates to money, vulnerability, intimacy, and resources. As we get into Thursday, there's still an emotional focus on your career and your work. And it supports a change within what you're doing on a daily basis for work, or to take better care of yourself and your health, and have maybe a little bit more harmonization with work and what you do on a daily basis to support yourself physically, mentally, and financially. There's also some tension between your home and your career on Thursday as well. And maybe it calls for you to get really disciplined with some spiritual practice, or some type of healing around home, childhood, or family. As we head into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your long-term goals and visions, maybe also community, and relationships, who you have around you, who you're spending time around. There could be some positive things that happen with that, maybe getting invited to events, or just you've run into more people on a daily basis that you just feel more supported with all of those things, and with people and with your routine. But also, as we head into Saturday, there could be tension or challenges between all of those areas I've been kind of talking about, like your money, resources, dating, romance, creative passions, your long-term goals and visions, and intimacy or vulnerability. There could be some really challenging energy between all of those areas on Saturday, but it forces you to evolve in ways that are needed to come into more balance. It's kind of like, okay, I had to get out of balance to see what needs to come more into balance with all of those things. Maybe you're spending too much time with somebody that is new, or around people that are new to you, and it kind of brings you out of your center. That's kind of the energy, and you're like, okay, I really need to dedicate myself to having nature time or alone time or whatever it is, to not get out of sync. As we head into Sunday, the moon moves into your area of subconscious. So the emotional focus shifts on into your inner world again. It's like, okay, maybe you had too much social time, and you're realizing you really need to rein it in, and to give yourself, like, maybe literally schedule in alone time or schedule in nature time of like this day I do this time this day is for me, kind of thing, and really stick to it. It feels like it emotionally catalyzes that change that is needed for you to move forward in a way that's more harmonized, as we end out the week. So that's your week ahead, Sagittarius. Let me know how it resonates, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Capricorn Rising. Big focus on you this whole week. Big focus on yourself, on your identity, on your sense of self, and really what about that needs maybe change or needs a new foundation or needs a new system in place. Specifically on Monday, the focus emotionally is on your vulnerability or your resources. Maybe you're realizing you need to spend a lot more time with yourself, really in your own energy versus around others. And as we get into Tuesday, there could be some healing that happens around that Monday into Tuesday, and then early in the morning on Tuesday, there's like this challenging thing that happens between that, maybe your emotional vulnerability, or emotional focus on resources, debt, taxes, and what's going on with your creativity or what's changing about dating or romance. It feels like it calls you to really evolve and to grow in ways that are needed, and maybe take care of some things, that you've put off with debt or taxes or resources, in order to maybe reorganize your inner world to be more creatively inspired as well. As we get into later on Tuesday and into Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts on to your perspective and how you're viewing life. There might be something you're realizing you want to learn or invest in knowledge around, or it could really be releasing fully this version of you that wanted to be perfect or wanted to do everything this certain way. And it's like, no, I just need to do it and do it messy, and it will all work out. That is kind of the energy, and this supports some shifts around your identity and around your sense of self that are getting a really big focus, as well this week, like I said. As we get into Thursday, it feels like there's some big, shift within your communication, your inner world, stories you're telling yourselves, belief systems, that are really a focal point on Thursday of shifting, maybe related to whatever came up earlier in the week. You're realizing, okay, I need to see this differently. I need to view this differently in order to experience it differently. So there's a big, revelation around that on Thursday. As we head into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your career. You might be putting yourself out there more, creating something in your career, or putting yourself around people that are going to support, what's going on with your work or with career and your public image. Maybe that's putting yourself around more people that are going to see you for what you're doing or what you're building or what's changing about your money and related to career. Again, there's this big focus on you and on being seen right now and taking action to be seen, and maybe building like habits around that. But it also feels like there's challenges between all of these areas, especially on Saturday. It's going to be the focus is your career is challenging you, your you is challenging home or family, like what's healing there, and then that all is challenging relationships in some way, or your ability to expand, with people, or how you want to with who you have around you. And it feels like all of this, just not fun energy, but it is forcing you to kind of look at things differently, and again, like how do you want to view the world, um and what needs to change or grow and evolve around these areas so you can experience it differently, is very much the energy. As we head into Sunday, feels like there's a big catalyst for an emotional shift around all of that, and maybe something that changes big time around your long-term goals or visions to support what you realized you want to evolve and grow, about all those areas that felt kind of challenged, like they were challenging each other on Saturday. So that is your energy for the week ahead, Capricorn. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Aquarius Rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of relationships. So there's a big emotional focus on other people in your life, um, on who you have around you, you know, how often you're spending time with them, what y'all are doing, and really harboring connections and relationships that feel joyful for you above all else. There could be a big shift around that on Tuesday, related to something about that in your home or your family that's being challenged. There could be a change you're wanting to make in your home or your family that's directly challenging your ability to emotionally focus on relationships or something like that on Tuesday. All week in general, there's a big focus on your inner world, on your subconscious. That might also come up and be a focus on Tuesday of like, okay, what is changing about my mindset or my perspective, how I viewed this that's maybe related to childhood wounds and things I don't want to move forward with. I don't want to take into my home or my family moving forward. And so there could be some clarity around healing that finally so you don't perpetuate it. As we head into Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts into your resources, into your area of vulnerability as well. There could be a big emotional release related to that on Wednesday, maybe also related to money and what's going on there, what new direction you've been moving with finances or possessions, or needing to be really disciplined or committed to as it relates to building some new financial venture for yourself. And there could be some big emotional release of like a perfectionistic mindset or something related to that on Wednesday. As we get into Thursday, that continues, that amplifies. But it also feels like it brings up something about maybe a story that you took on from childhood or from family that, again, you don't want to move forward with into this new chapter. There's a lot of underneath the surface things coming to the surface for you to look at and transform in order to move forward into the year on a solid new foundation that's actually more beneficial for you and your life moving forward and is going to support all these changes you're making. Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your perspective of life, your belief system. So there's a big look at that and continuation of, okay, what about my belief systems is not supporting what I want to do or how I want to move forward with my life, and what do I need to change about it? That could also impact your physical and mental health as well. And maybe just refining your routines related to all of that stuff. It feels like on Saturday, though, it's like it all comes to the surface in a way you can't ignore it. If you've maybe been trying to ignore it, it's like you can't. On Saturday, there's some big challenge or conflict between all of those areas that really forces you to look at this and what needs to change about your day-to-day, your routine, your schedule, your structures in order to really support your mental, physical health and life moving forward and stepping into these new chapters. Sunday, there is an emotional catalyst around all of that that really maybe puts some conflict or challenge on you to transform and maybe take action on your career in ways you've been wanting to, or your money in ways you've been needing to have this new life and to have this new version of you and identity around it moving forward, fully stepping into the new. So that's your week ahead, Aquarius. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Hi, Pisces Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your day-to-day work, your schedule, your routine, maybe physical health as well. Maybe bringing more joy into your activities or what you're doing on a daily basis to feel more supported with maybe work also. Just bringing in more fun and playful energy. Like, what do I need to have more of that in my life and have more of that on a day-to-day? Feels like the big focus. And it could heal something about your money unexpectedly. As well. Tuesday, there's a big shift around that related to your mindset, related to how you're sharing ideas or information, where you're going on a daily basis, who you're talking to on a daily basis. There might be some challenges between that and what's going on with work and your physical health, but it does feel like it presents you with an opportunity to grow in ways that are needed for you to move forward. Later on Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your relationships. So there could be something about that you're focused on refining or organizing. Like, who do you have around you? Who do you want to have around you? Is it is it people who aren't around you right now? How do you call in new, better people that feel more aligned, that feel more just supportive of your goals and where you're headed? There's a big focus on that this week overall, your long-term goals and visions and the community you have around you to support those coming to fruition. There could be a big emotional release of a relationship or somebody in your life on Wednesday that is just like you're realizing doesn't support you to move forward in these new things. It's like you let a friend go or something, and immediately you meet somebody who's more aligned with you, like within the hour or something is what it feels like, or within that same day, you like get invited to something and you meet somebody who's like actually the person you envisioned having to support you on these new ventures or these new things. That's the energy on Wednesday. Then as we head into Thursday, it feels like there's a lot of just, again, harmony. And once you release the old, stepping into the new and having more supportive people around you, having more supportive routines that are actually going to move you forward into this new life and into this new chapter. There could be some tension about that on Thursday, though, that it puts pressure on you to really step into or set boundaries related to a new version of yourself that you've been stepping into, and kind of release any fogginess or avoidance around being a new version of yourself. There could be something about that really comes to fruition on Thursday. Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your intimacy, your vulnerability, as well as your debt, taxes, investments. So there could be something, maybe you meet this new person and they're like, oh yeah, I just do this with that, with money or whatever it is. And you're like, oh, I could do that too. Like it's really like the supportive person is coming in to help you with what's going on with your money, or what's healing there, or what's needed. Maybe even as it relates to like investing or making an investment in a business venture or something related to that. But it also feels like on Saturday, there's challenges between balancing all those areas of your life. And it's really, really the energy is like, don't force yourself to have it all together. Like you're figuring out what you need, you're figuring out what needs to change and evolve in order for you to have what you want to move forward in a way that is harmonized and balanced and aligned. So don't make a mountain out of a molehill kind of thing is the energy. It's like just let these challenges be what they are and let them show you what needs to change about your life to have more harmony. I think I already said that, but that's the energy. Trust where you're headed, trust where you know that you're going, as opposed to any challenges that come up along the way. And then as we head into Sunday, it feels like a big emotional shift and catalyst towards having that transformation related to your mindset, related to what's going on in your inner world that you've been healing, transforming, becoming aware of. You're making the most of everything that's coming up. And it's just so important you stay with the mindset of like, it's working out. It's all coming to fruition in ways that it needs to. Like, it's fine. It's all divine is what I always say. That's kind of the energy as we end out the week. So keep doing you, trust your intuition. It's all working out for you in your favor. And that's your week ahead, Pisces. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Bye.